The genetic counselor's hands tremble as she shows me the results. Mr. Matthews, there must be some mistake. The probability of paternal relationship is... She stops, her fingers gripping the blue folder like it might explode. 0%. The words hang in the antiseptic air of the counseling office. My wife Sarah sits beside me, 8 months pregnant, her face draining of color like water from a broken glass. We came here to celebrate, to find out if we're having a boy or girl, to maybe grab the fancy 3D ultrasound package. The nurse in the corner shifts uncomfortably, her eyes darting between us and the door. That's impossible, I hear myself say. We've been trying for 3 years. The IVF, the treatments, run it again. The counselor's voice drops to barely a whisper. We ran it 3 times, Mr. Matthews. The lab director verified the results personally. She slides another paper across the desk. Clinical black numbers on white. Your sample and the fetal DNA show no biological relationship. Sarah's hand pulls away from mine. It's such a small movement, but it feels like continents dividing. She hasn't said a word. Not one word of confusion or protest or denial. The silence from her is louder than any scream could be. Sarah? My voice cracks on her name. She stands abruptly, her purse clutched against her swollen belly. I need air. Sarah, wait. But she's already at the door, moving faster than I've seen her move in months. The counselor looks at me with professional sympathy that makes me want to throw something. Mr. Matthews, we have resources available. Counseling services, legal referrals. Legal? The word tastes like copper in my mouth. Sometimes there are mix-ups at fertility clinics, wrong samples used. It's rare, but we didn't use donor sperm. I'm standing now too, the blue folder somehow in my hands. We didn't use anyone else's anything. The counselor's expression tells me she's seen this before. How many men have sat in this chair, holding this same kind of folder, watching their world crack apart in real time? She slides a business card across the desk. Take some time. When you're ready, call this number. They specialize in complex situations. Outside, Sarah's car is gone. Of course it is. I stand in the parking lot, December wind cutting through my jacket, and realize I'm still holding the blue folder, the results. The proof that the baby my wife is carrying isn't mine. After 3 years of temperature charts and ovulation tests and hormone shots that made her cry for hours. There must be a mistake. Run it again. The drive home stretches like a fever dream. Every red light feels deliberate. Every slow driver a cosmic joke. My phone buzzes against the passenger seat. Sarah's ringtone, then my father's, then Sarah again. I don't answer. Can't answer. My wedding ring catches the afternoon sunlight as I grip the steering wheel, throwing little rainbow prisms across the dashboard. We picked these rings together at that tiny shop in Portland, arguing playfully about white gold versus platinum. She won. She always won our little arguments, and I loved her for it. The highway blurs past. Exit 42. Exit 43. Each mile taking me closer to a house that won't feel like home anymore. The radio plays our song, that stupid Ed Sheeran track from our first dance, and I punch it off so hard the knob cracks. My phone won't stop buzzing. I finally glance at the screen at a stop sign. 17 missed calls. 8 from Sarah, 9 from my father. Why is my father calling me? He never calls during work hours, some old school principle about not disrupting business. The last time he called me this many times was when Mom had her heart attack, when she was dying and he needed me to get to the hospital. But Mom's been gone 2 years now. I pull over at a gas station, my hands shaking too much to drive safely. A text from Sarah. Please come home. We need to talk. Another from my father. Son, whatever you've heard, let me explain. Whatever I've heard, I haven't heard anything. I've seen test results, scientific proof. What could he possibly need to explain about my wife's pregnancy? Unless, no. My mind refuses to complete that thought. It slams into a wall, backs up, tries another route, hits the same wall. Because that's impossible. That's sick. That's something that happens in twisted movies, not in real life, not in my life. I pull over and saw 17 missed calls. The house sits quiet when I pull into the driveway. Sarah's car is here now, parked at an odd angle like she was in a hurry. The front door is unlocked. She never leaves it unlocked. Inside, the silence has weight, like the house is holding its breath. Her coffee mug sits on the kitchen counter, still warm. She made coffee when she got home. Who makes coffee after news like that? The ultrasound from last week is still on the refrigerator, held by the magnet from our honeymoon in Hawaii. A grainy black and white profile of a baby that isn't mine. Sarah? My voice echoes through empty rooms. The living room is untouched. Our bedroom door stands open. Bed still unmade from this morning, when we were running late, laughing about how she couldn't see her feet anymore to find her shoes. Her shoes. They're gone from the closet. So is her overnight bag, the one she keeps packed for the hospital. But she's 8 months pregnant. Where would she go? I walk back to the kitchen, and that's when I see it. A folded piece of paper under our wedding photo on the mantle. Not the big formal portrait. The candid one Sarah's sister took right after the ceremony, where we're both laughing at something. My face buried in her hair, her hand on my cheek. We look so young, so stupidly, impossibly happy. The note is under our wedding photo. My hands shake as I unfold the lavender paper. Her good stationery, the kind she uses for thank you notes and condolences. Her handwriting, usually so neat, sprawls across the page in uneven lines. Marcus, I'm sorry. Those 2 words aren't enough, will never be enough, but they're all I have right now. I never meant for this to happen. I never meant for you to find out this way. The counselor called me yesterday about a potential issue with the test, and I knew. I knew before we even walked into that office what the results would say. I'm staying with my sister tonight. Please don't come. I need time to think, to figure out how to explain something that can't be explained. You deserve the truth. You've always deserved the truth, and I've been such a coward. The affair started 3 years ago, right after we began trying for a baby. I was so angry at my body for failing us, so desperate to give you the family you wanted. He was there when you were traveling for work, and it just happened. I ended it. I swear I ended it. But then the IVF failed, and you were so destroyed, and I was so broken, and it happened again. I'm carrying his child. I've known for weeks, but convinced myself maybe I was wrong. Maybe the dates were off. Maybe love would be enough to make it yours somehow. I'm so sorry, Marcus. I love you. That's the worst part. I never stopped loving you, even while I was betraying you. Sarah. She never says who. Through the entire letter, she never says whose baby it is. Like, maybe if she doesn't write his name, it won't be real. But I already know. The 9 phone calls from my father, his text about explaining, the way he's been so interested in this pregnancy, so eager to be involved. She didn't mention whose baby it was. The doorbell rings at 6 p.m. sharp. I know who it is before I open it. My father has arrived exactly at dinner time every Thursday since Mom died. Routine and discipline. That's David Matthews. Marine Corps retired, successful real estate developer, respected community leader, the kind of man who builds things instead of destroying them. He stands on my porch in his usual Thursday casual, khakis and a polo shirt, looking every bit the dignified 62-year-old grandfather-to-be. Except, he's more than that, isn't he? Marcus? His voice is steady, but his eyes won't meet mine. We need to talk. Do we? I leave the door open and walk back inside, not caring if he follows. He does. In the living room, he sits in his usual chair. Dad's chair, we've called it since I was a kid. The family portrait above the fireplace seems to mock us both. Mom, Dad, me at 16, all smiling at some long ago Christmas. Mom would be horrified. Mom would be, God, I'm grateful she's dead. That thought makes me want to vomit, but it's true. At least she doesn't have to know what kind of man she married. How long? I ask. Son, don't. The word comes out sharp enough to cut. Don't you dare call me that. How long have you been fucking my wife? He flinches. Good. David Matthews, who faced down insurgents in Iraq, who built a real estate empire from nothing, who gave eulogies without shedding a tear, he flinches at my words. It's not what you think. The baby is yours. Not a question, a statement, a fact as clinical as those test results. His silence is answer enough. He sits there in his chair, in my house, unable to look at me. When he finally speaks, his voice is smaller than I've ever heard it. It wasn't supposed to happen. Which part? The affair with your son's wife? Getting her pregnant? Or getting caught? Marcus, please, let me... You have a key to our house. The realization hits me like cold water. You've had it since Mom died, since I gave it to you so you'd never feel alone. You used the key I gave you to... He knew. I could see it in how he couldn't meet my eyes. The evening light fades outside, casting long shadows across the room. My father sits in his chair, looking older than I've ever seen him, and I understand that I'm looking at a stranger. The man who taught me to ride a bike, who walked me down the aisle at my wedding because I was too nervous to walk alone, who held my hand at Mom's funeral. That man never existed. Or maybe he did, and this is what was always underneath. Get out, I say quietly. Marcus, we need to discuss. Get out of my house. Leave your key on the table. If you ever come here again, I'll call the police. He stands slowly, pulls the key from his pocket, and sets it on the coffee table with a small click that sounds like finality. At the door, he pauses. For what it's worth, I loved your mother. I love you. No, I tell him, you don't get to say that. You don't get to destroy everything and then claim love. Love doesn't do this. After he leaves, I sit in the dark living room, staring at that family portrait. We don't leave family behind. That's what he always said. The Matthews motto. We don't leave, but sometimes, I'm learning, family leaves you first. Emma's room glows soft pink from her butterfly nightlight. She's 5, too old for it, really, but she insists it keeps the bad dreams away. Tonight, I'm the one who needs protection from nightmares. She's awake, sitting up in her tiny bed, clutching her stuffed elephant, Mr. Peanuts. Creative naming isn't her strong suit yet. Daddy, where's Mommy? How do you explain betrayal to someone who still believes in Santa? Mommy needed to visit Aunt Claire for a few days, sweetheart. Is it because of the baby? My chest tightens. What makes you think that? She fidgets with Mr. Peanut's ear, the way she does when she's thinking hard. Mommy was crying in the bathroom yesterday. She said the baby was making everything complicated. I sit on the edge of her bed, careful not to disturb the precisely arranged stuffed animals. Emma has rules about their placement. The bears on the left, the cats on the right, Mr. Peanuts in the middle as the leader. Order in her small world while mine falls apart. Sometimes grown-ups have complicated feelings, I say carefully. Is Grandpa David coming for dinner tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. She frowns, working something out in that brilliant little mind. He comes every Thursday. Things are going to be a little different for a while. Emma looks at me with those serious brown eyes. Sarah's eyes, thank God, not his. Daddy? Yeah, baby. Why does Grandpa smell like Mommy's perfume? The question hits like ice water. What do you mean? When he hugs me, he smells like Mommy's special perfume, the one in the pretty bottle you got her for Christmas. She yawns, settling back into her pillows. It's weird. I kiss her forehead, tuck Mr. Peanuts under her arm, and turn off the butterfly light. In the hallway, I lean against the wall and try to breathe. Even Emma noticed. How did I miss it? How did I not see what a 5-year-old could smell? Daddy. Why does Grandpa smell like Mommy's perfume? My home office becomes a war room. Every surface covered with papers, laptop open to bank statements, credit cards spread like evidence at a crime scene. If I'm going to understand this, really understand how blind I've been, I need data, facts, timeline. The credit card statements tell a story I never bothered to read. Small charges I dismissed, lunch at places I thought were with her sister, shopping trips that seem normal. But patterns emerge when you look for them. Every Tuesday and Thursday when I traveled for work, charges at the same restaurant, the same hotel bar, the Marriott downtown, room service for two. 3 years ago. She said the affair started 3 years ago. I pull up my calendar from March 2021. There it is, my first major business trip after we started trying for a baby. Gone for a week to Seattle. The same week shows a charge at Victoria's Secret. I remember being pleased when I came home, thinking she'd bought something for us, for trying to conceive. The lingerie wasn't for me. Wait, March 2021. Emma was born in January 2021, which means I grab my phone, scroll through the thousands of photos, find Emma's birth announcement. January 15th, 2021. The affair started 2 months after our daughter was born, while Sarah was still recovering, while I was doing night feedings so she could rest, while we were both delirious with new parent exhaustion and joy. Hotel receipts from my father's business account. He was sloppy, used the company card sometimes. The same dates, the same hotel. Sometimes rooms next to each other, sometimes the same room. How convenient that he had access to empty properties all over the city. All those houses he was showing to clients. A text thread Sarah forgot to delete from the cloud. Just one conversation from 6 months ago. D, can't stop thinking about yesterday. S, we have to be more careful. D, I know, but when you look at me across the dinner table. S, stop. M will notice. D, he never notices anything. He was right. I never noticed anything. Not the way they avoided being alone together at family gatherings. I thought it was respect for boundaries. Not the way she stopped complaining about his Thursday visits. I thought she was being supportive of his grief. Not the way her pregnancy seemed to make him happy in a way Mom's death had made impossible. I thought he was just excited to be a grandfather again. The affair started 3 days after Emma's birth. Actually, no, 2 months. But it might as well have been 3 days for how it feels. Our daughter was barely holding her head up when her mother started destroying our family. The coffee shop buzzes with normal morning sounds. People living regular lives, having regular problems. My best friend Jake sits across from me, his face a study in discomfort. We've known each other since college, been through everything together. He was my best man. He's Emma's godfather. You knew? Not a question. Jake stirs his coffee like it holds the secrets of the universe. I suspected. How long? About a year, maybe more. He finally looks up. I saw them once, at a restaurant in Bethesda. They weren't doing anything, just having lunch. But the way they were looking at each other. And you didn't tell me. What was I supposed to say? Hey, Marcus, I think your wife might be fucking your father? With no proof? You would have thought I was insane. Hell, I thought I was insane for even thinking it. He's right. I would have cut him out of my life for suggesting something so vile. The waiter brings my coffee. I don't remember ordering it. Jake must have. Taking care of me, like always. Your mom knew, he says quietly. Everything stops. What? At Christmas, that last Christmas before she died, she pulled me aside, asked if I'd noticed anything strange about Sarah and David. I lied, said no. She said she was probably imagining things, that the heart medication was making her paranoid. But Marcus, he pulls out his phone, scrolls to a voice memo. She asked me to record her just in case. Said she wanted proof she wasn't going crazy. He hits play. My mother's voice fills the space between us, weak from illness but clear. Jake, I need you to promise me something. If anything happens to me, watch out for Marcus. I can't prove it, but I think David and Sarah, just watch out for him. He loves them both so much he can't see what's right in front of him. Tell him I tried to warn him. Tell him to check the letters in my jewelry box. Tell him I'm sorry I wasn't brave enough to say it out loud. Your mother tried to warn you at Christmas. The recording ends. The coffee shop continues its cheerful chaos around us, oblivious to the ghost that just spoke through Jake's phone. My mother knew. She knew and died carrying that weight. She tried to tell you, Jake says. That's what she told me, but you thought it was the medication talking. I remember now. Mom pulling me aside, her hands shaking, trying to say something about Sarah. I'd hugged her, told her everything was fine, that the stress of being sick was making her see problems that weren't there. I'd increased her anxiety medication after that conversation. There's more, Jake says. He looks miserable. Other people know, or a suspect. Your cousin Marie, the neighbors, some people at Sarah's work. Nobody wanted to be the one to tell you. A whole community of people watching my life fall apart in slow motion. Too polite or too cowardly to throw me a rope. The coffee tastes like ash. Mom's room hasn't changed much since she died. Dad, David, kept it like a shrine for 6 months, then slowly started boxing things up. But her jewelry box still sits on the dresser, the wooden one I made her in a high school wood shop. It's terrible craftsmanship, uneven corners, lid doesn't close right, but she treasured it. Inside, under the tangled necklaces and orphaned earrings, is a bundle of letters tied with ribbon. Not lavender like Sarah's. Blue, Mom's favorite color. There are 6 letters, all addressed to me, all sealed, all dated different months in the year before she died. I opened the oldest one first, January 2024. My dear Marcus, if you're reading this, then I have either found the courage to give this to you, or I'm gone, and you found it yourself. I pray it's the former, but I know my own cowardice too well. Your father is having an affair with Sarah. There. I've written it. The words that have been eating me alive for months. I've seen them together. Not in the act, thank God, but in moments they thought were private. The way he touches her lower back when you're not looking. The way she lights up when he enters a room. The way they text constantly during your business trips. I confronted David. He denied it, of course, said I was imagining things, that the medication was affecting my judgment. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm a dying woman seeing betrayal where there's only kindness. But I don't think so. I should have been stronger, should have protected you. But I'm weak, and I'm dying, and I'm so afraid of destroying your happiness in the time I have left. If I'm wrong, I've ruined everything for nothing. If I'm right, I've let it continue by my silence. Forgive me. All my love, Mom. The other letters are variations on the same theme, each one more desperate, more detailed. She documents instances, dates, observations. The 4th letter includes a photo she took, blurry through a window, but clearly showing David and Sarah embracing in our backyard during Emma's 4th birthday party. While I was inside getting the cake, the final letter is different, dated a week before her death. Marcus, I'm dying. The doctors say weeks, maybe days. And I'm taking this secret with me because I'm a coward who loves you too much to break your heart while mine is literally failing. But if you find these letters, know this. You will survive this betrayal. You are stronger than your father, kinder than he ever was, and you deserve better than both of them. Emma needs you to be strong. She needs one parent with integrity. I've left something else for you. In my safety deposit box at the bank, box 472. The key is taped under my jewelry box. It's proof if you need it for legal reasons. I hired a private investigator. I'm sorry for that too, for knowing and documenting instead of acting. You were the best thing in my life, my darling boy. Better than I deserved. Better than either of us deserved. Don't let them destroy your capacity to love. Don't let them win. If you're reading this, I couldn't save you in time. Under the jewelry box, wrapped in yellowed tape, is a small key. My hands shake as I pocket it along with the letters. Tomorrow, I'll go to the bank. Tonight, I need to sit in my mother's room and apologize to her ghost for not listening, for medicating away her truth, for letting her die thinking she was crazy when she was the only one brave enough to see. The park is neutral territory, public enough that nobody can make a scene, private enough for real conversation. Sarah sits on the bench where we used to bring Emma to feed the ducks, 8.5 months pregnant now, wearing one of my old college sweatshirts. It still fits her better than her own clothes. "Thank you for meeting me," she says. I sit at the other end of the bench, my phone recording in my pocket. The lawyer Jake recommended said to document everything. "We need to discuss Emma." "I know." She won't look at me, just watches the joggers circle the pond. "I never meant..." "Stop. Just stop saying you never meant for any of this. You made choices. Daily. For 3 years. It wasn't 3 years of..." She stops, restarts. "It wasn't constant. It was on and off. I tried to end it so many times. But you didn't." "No." Her hand rests on her belly. Obviously not. We sit in silence. A dog walker passes with 6 leashes tangled like our lives. Finally, I ask the question that's been burning since the test results. "Does he love you?" Sarah laughs, but it's bitter. "David doesn't love anyone. He wants things. He acquires things. Your mother knew that." "My mother is dead." "Because she found out." The words hang between us like a confession. I don't mean we killed her, but the stress of knowing, of keeping the secret, her heart couldn't take it. You killed her slowly instead of quickly. How noble. Sarah flinches. "I deserve that." "You deserve worse, but Emma doesn't deserve any of this." I turn to really look at her for the first time. How did it even start? She's crying now, silent tears that she doesn't bother to wipe. "You were in Seattle. Emma had colic. I hadn't slept in days. He came to help, and I was so tired, so hormonal, so angry at you for leaving even though it was for work. He said I reminded him of your mother when she was young. He said I was the daughter he never had. Then he kissed me, and I was so shocked I didn't stop him. Then I did stop him. For months, I stopped him. Until the first IVF failed. You were so devastated, and he was there with this story about how he and your mother tried for years before they had you, how he understood the pain, how he could help me give you what you wanted. The baby deserved a better father, like yours." The recording captures everything: her confession, the timeline, the admission about my mother. The lawyer will be pleased. The judge will be convinced. Emma will grow up knowing the truth someday, when she's old enough to understand why Daddy has full custody, and Mommy only gets supervised visits. He said the baby deserved a better father, like yours. But my father wasn't better. He was just better at hiding who he really was. The law offices of Brennan and Associates smell like leather and vindication. Patricia Brennan is exactly what Jake promised: sharp, methodical, and expensive enough to hurt. She spreads the evidence across her mahogany desk like a general planning a siege. The blue folder from the genetic counselor, the letters from my mother, the credit card statements, the private investigator's photos Mom commissioned, the recorded confession from the park. "This is comprehensive," Patricia says, her manicured finger tapping the custody petition. "But there's something you should know. Your father has retained counsel as well." "For what? He's not the husband." "No, but he's claiming grandparental rights. And Mr. Matthews, he's retained Morrison, Klein, and Daniels." The name hits like a slap. I know that firm. Everyone in Maryland knows that firm. They're the ones who destroyed. That's the firm that handled the Blackwood case, I say slowly. The mother who lost custody despite the father's abuse. Patricia nods. The same legal team. The same tactics they used against Angela Blackwood. Your father clearly did his research. My mother mentioned them in one of her letters, said David had consulted them about something. I thought it was business. It was. Patricia pulls out a yellow legal pad. He's been planning this. If your mother hadn't died when she did, I believe he was going to divorce her and use this firm to ensure she got nothing. Now he's using them to ensure he maintains access to Emma and the new baby. Emma's drawings sit in a neat stack, evidence of her emotional state. The one she drew last week shows our family, but Grandpa David is colored in black crayon, while everyone else is in bright colors. The child psychologist's evaluation notes that Emma shows signs of confusion and distress about family dynamics. We have enough to prove adultery, Patricia continues. The DNA test alone ensures that, but custody is about best interests of the child. Children, plural, now. Your wife is about to give birth to your father's baby. The court will consider the psychological impact on Emma. What do you need from me? Everything. Every text, every email, every moment that seems strange in retrospect. We're going to build a timeline so comprehensive that... Her phone buzzes. She glances at it, frowns. They've moved up the mediation. Tomorrow morning instead of next week. Can you make that? Why the rush? Your father hired the same firm that destroyed your mother. The words come out wrong. Patricia didn't say that. But it's what I hear, what echoes in this pristine office. They're rushing because they know Sarah could give birth any day. Because once that baby is born, everything becomes more complicated. A newborn in the mix. A mother recovering from childbirth. Judges hesitate to separate mothers and infants. I'll be there, I tell Patricia. She stands, extends her hand. Mr. Matthews, I want you to understand something. Your father has money, connections, and a ruthless legal team. But you have something more powerful, the truth. And a 5-year-old daughter who needs at least one parent with integrity. Mom said the same thing in her letter. Almost word for word. The mediation room feels like a corporate coffin. Beige walls, fluorescent lights, a table that could seat 12 but only holds 7. Sarah and her lawyer on one side, David and his team, 3 attorneys in suits that cost more than most people's cars on another. Patricia and I facing them all. The mediator, a retired judge named Harrison, sits at the head like he's presiding over the world's most twisted dinner party. Sarah won't look at me, won't look at David either. She stares at her hands folded over her enormous belly. She's wearing a maternity dress I bought her. The blue one with tiny flowers. The irony isn't lost on me. Let's begin with the immediate concerns, Harrison says. Custody of Emma Matthews, age 5. Mrs. Matthews, you're seeking joint custody. Sarah's lawyer, a nervous man named Peterson, clears his throat. My client believes that's in the best interest of the child. Despite carrying another man's baby? Patricia's voice cuts like surgical steel. A baby conceived through an affair with her husband's father? Morrison, my father's lead attorney, doesn't flinch. The paternity of Mrs. Matthews' current pregnancy has no bearing on her fitness as a mother to Emma. It speaks to judgment, Patricia counters, to moral character, to the environment in which Emma would be raised. We go in circles for an hour. Legal precedents thrown like grenades. Emma's drawings passed around like evidence at a murder trial. The ultrasound of the baby makes an appearance. David's team arguing he has rights as the biological grandfather. My team arguing he forfeited those rights through his actions. Sarah shifts in her chair, uncomfortable. She's been silent this entire time, letting the lawyers speak for her. But suddenly she gasps, her hand flying to her belly. I need... She stops, her face contorting. I think... Water pools beneath her chair. She's in labor, Peterson announces unnecessarily. The room erupts, David standing reaching for her. Me instinctively moving forward, then stopping. Sarah groaning, gripping the table. Morrison calling for an ambulance. Patricia grabbing my arm, holding me back. "We need to continue this," Harrison starts. "The hospital," Sarah gasps. "Please." She chose that moment to go into labor. The mediation dissolves into chaos. Paramedics arrive. Sarah is wheeled out on a gurney, David following, despite having no legal right to, his lawyers trailing behind like ravens. I stand in the empty mediation room with Patricia, looking at the water stain on the carpet. "This complicates things," she says. "The hospital corridor stretches like purgatory. I shouldn't be here, but I am. For Emma. Because someone needs to be able to tell her the truth about today when she's older." The waiting room divides into camps. Sarah's sister and mother on one side, David and his lawyers on another, me alone by the window. Hours pass. CNN plays on mute. Someone brings coffee that no one drinks. Finally, a nurse emerges. "The baby's been born, a boy, healthy." "Can we?" David starts. "Family only," the nurse says. He stops, can't say it, can't say father in front of all these witnesses. "I'm the husband," I say quietly. "Legally, still." The nurse looks between us, confused but trained not to ask questions. "You can come back." I follow her through the double doors, past rooms full of actual happiness, to Sarah's room. She's holding the baby, tiny, wrinkled, a shock of dark hair like David's, like mine actually, the Matthews hair, skipping a generation in the worst possible way. "Marcus," her voice is hoarse, "you came. Someone has to sign the birth certificate." We both look at the document on the bedside table. The nurse hovers, uncertain. Father's name, blank. A line waiting for a lie, or a truth, or nothing at all. "I won't put your name," Sarah says. "I won't do that to you." "But you'll put his?" I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. The baby fusses. He's beautiful, I realize, with a sick feeling. This child who represents everything wrong, everything broken. He's innocent and perfect and doomed to carry this story forever. David appears in the doorway. Security must have let him through, or his lawyers found a way. He looks at the baby with an expression I've never seen before. Not the pride he showed when Emma was born. Something hungrier, possessive. "I want to hold him," he says. "No." Sarah and I say it simultaneously. The first thing we've agreed on in weeks, but David steps forward anyway. And that's when I realize security didn't let him through. He's here because he's listed as Sarah's emergency contact. Has been for 2 years, she admits when pressed. Another secret, another betrayal. My father signed it while I watched. He picks up the birth certificate, reads the blank line, takes the pen from the nurse's pocket, and signs it. David Matthews, Jr., he writes in the father's name field, his name, his legacy, his final victory. Except it's not. Emma sits in the child advocate's office, Mr. Peanuts in her lap, drawing another family picture. This one is different. Mommy is there but far to the side. Grandpa David isn't there at all. In the center, it's just Emma and me, holding hands with the sun above us that takes up half the page. "Emma," the advocate says gently, "can you tell me why you drew the picture this way?" "Because this is my real family now," Emma says matter-of-factly. "Daddy and me. What about your mommy?" "Mommy lied. She made Daddy sad, and she had a baby with Grandpa David, which is gross." The advocate glances at me. We've been careful not to tell Emma details, but children know. They absorb truth through the walls, through the silences, through the changed dynamics. "Do you want to see your mommy?" Emma considers this with the seriousness only a 5-year-old can muster. "Sometimes, but not at our house. And not with Grandpa David. He's not my grandpa anymore." "Why not?" "Because..." She looks up at me, then back at her drawing. "Real families don't lie." She said real families don't lie. The custody evaluation takes 3 months. 3 months of supervised visits for Sarah. 3 months of David's lawyers filing motion after motion. 3 months of Emma asking fewer and fewer questions about when mommy is coming home. The final ruling comes on a Thursday. Of course it does. Everything significant in this story happens on a Thursday. The judge awards me full custody of Emma. Sarah gets supervised visitation every other weekend. David gets nothing. No grandparental rights, no visitation. A restraining order keeping him 500 feet from Emma's school. Sarah doesn't fight it. She shows up to court, 3-month-old David Jr. in her arms, and tells the judge she agrees to the terms. Peterson looks like he wants to object, but she silences him with a look. After, in the parking lot, she approaches me. David Jr. is in his car seat, sleeping. "I'm moving," she says, "to Colorado. My aunt has a place there." "That's far from your visitation." "I'm not going to visit, not for a while. Emma needs stability, and I need..." She looks at the baby. "I need to figure out how to raise this child without destroying him too." "Sarah, I loved you," she says. "That's not an excuse or an apology, just... I wanted you to know I loved you and I destroyed us anyway. Some people are just broken that way." She drives away. I don't see her again for 8 months. If you've ever had to rebuild your entire life from scratch, leave a comment saying, "I understand. Sometimes the hardest stories need to be shared." 1 year later, the apartment is smaller than our old house, but it's ours, Emma's and mine. The walls are covered with her art, evolving from dark scribbles to bright landscapes. She's in 1st grade now, thriving. The counselor says she's remarkably resilient. Today is special. Today the adoption becomes final. Not Emma. She's already mine in every way that matters. But Lily, Emma's best friend from school, whose parents died in a car accident 6 months ago. No family to take her in. Foster care looming. Until Emma announced at dinner one night, Lily should live with us. We have room. We did have room. Not in square footage, but in something harder to measure. The blue folder sits on my desk, the same one that held the DNA results that destroyed everything. Now it holds adoption papers. Proof that family isn't about blood or betrayal, but about choosing to stay. Choosing to love. Choosing to build something from the ashes. Emma and Lily are in the living room, planning their shared birthday party. They were born a week apart and have decided this means they're basically twins. I can hear them arguing about whether to have a unicorn or dinosaur theme. They'll end up with both. They always do. My phone buzzes, an email from Sarah, the first direct contact in months. There's no text, just a photo attachment. I almost delete it, then curiosity wins. It's David Jr. taking his first steps. He looks like Emma at that age. He looks like me at that age. He looks like every Matthews baby probably has for generations. But he's not mine to raise, not mine to love. That's his tragedy, and maybe his salvation. I delete the email and go back to the adoption papers. Tomorrow, Lily becomes a Matthews. Tomorrow, Emma gets the sister she's been asking for since she could talk. Tomorrow, we become a different kind of family. The social worker visits for the final home check. She looks at the small apartment, the bunk beds Emma insisted on, the wall of drawings, the photo of the 3 of us at the beach last month. "Mr. Matthews," she says, "I've been doing this for 20 years. I've never seen a single father take on another child so soon after..." She gestures vaguely at the blue folder. "All this. We don't leave," I tell her. "That's what my father always said. We don't leave family behind. He was wrong about everything else, but he was right about that. We don't leave. We just get to choose who counts as family." Emma appears in the doorway, Lily behind her. "Dad, can we show Mrs. Johnson our family drawing?" It's the one from yesterday. Emma, Lily, and me standing in front of our apartment building. But there are other figures too. Jake labeled as Uncle. The nice elderly woman next door labeled Grandma Betty, even though she's not related to us. Emma's teacher, Lily's grief counselor. All the people who showed up when the blood family failed. That's a big family, Mrs. Johnson observes. The biggest, Emma agrees. And nobody lies. What defines family for you? Blood, choice, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts below. The papers are signed. The adoption is final. That night, I tuck both girls into their bunk beds. Lily, who hasn't smiled in 6 months, grins at me. Mr. Matthews, Dad? She tries the word out carefully. Emma says we're going to be okay. Emma's right. Even though bad things happened, I think about the blue folder, transformed from evidence of betrayal to proof of rebirth, about Sarah in Colorado, raising my half-brother, about David, alone in his big house with his money and his lawyers and his hollow victory, about my mother, who tried to warn me, who loved me enough to document the truth even when it killed her, especially because bad things happened, I tell them. That's how we know we're strong enough for the good things. Emma reaches down from the top bunk to hold Lily's hand. We don't leave, she says solemnly. That's the family rule. We don't leave, Lily repeats. I turn off the light, but their butterfly nightlight glows. In the living room, the blue folder sits closed on the shelf. Tomorrow it goes in a safety deposit box with the other documents that tell the story of how we got here. But tonight, it's just a folder, and we're just a family, chosen, constructed, complicated, and complete. The last photo in my phone from today shows all 3 of us at the courthouse. Emma and Lily wear matching dresses they picked out specially. I'm in my only suit, the one from my wedding, repurposed for a different kind of ceremony. We're all laughing at something the bailiff said. The blue folder is visible in my hand, but you'd never know what it contains. You just see a father and his daughters celebrating becoming official. That's all we are now. That's everything we are now. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear. That family is about who shows up, not just who shares your DNA. And tell us below about your own found family, the people who chose to stay when they didn't have to. Because sometimes the best families are the ones we build ourselves. We don't leave the people who choose us. That's the new Matthews motto, the only one that matters.